Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here. I'm back again with another video, and this topic has been a while in the making. The retro video game community has been all over this in the last couple of months, and it's something that I'd been wanting to shoot, but I just never got around to filming this video. So today we are talking about dead franchises that I would love to see return in 2021. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so the first series that I would love to see make a return is Tenchu, and Tenchu originally dropped on the original PlayStation all the way back in 1998. It was a stealth action game where you play the role of an Azuma ninja during Japan's Warring States period, and it's basically just your adventures of you serving your Lord Goda and keeping peace within your corner of Japan. This, again, like I said, was a stealth action game that came out in the year of stealth action games. We got the original Thief and the original Metal Gear Solid all come out within a few months of each other, and when I first played Tenchu, I was an instant fan right off the bat. This was the first game where I played as a ninja, where I really felt like a ninja. By this time we had games like the popular Shinobi series or Ninja Gaiden, but those were kind of more action-y. Strider is another one that comes to mind. Those are very much more like high-paced action. Well, in Tenchu, you really got to sneak around and use cover and use the shadows and use height to your advantage, using your grappling hook to get above enemies and drop down for stealth kills. You got a ton of different period accurate side items and things like that to use, like poisonous darts, poison rice, you know, things like shuriken and the like. It's a fantastic game for anybody who has not played it. We saw several games in the series, and as time went on, they added more playable characters. Primarily, you usually play as Rikimaru and Ayame, but the sequel added Tatsumaru, and the sequel after that added Tenchu. We got Ren later on and a bunch of other characters, and all in all, this is a fantastic series. The last time I remember it coming out was around 2008, I want to say, and that was Tenchu Z on the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, it deviated enough from the source material that it just wasn't very well received, and that kind of put a lid on the series as a whole after that. Despite, I believe, there were some other games that came out after that. I believe Shadow Assassins on the Wii came out after, as well as Time of the Assassins on the PlayStation Portable, which actually was a fantastic game, but it only came out in Japan and Europe. If you see these, most of the games in the series go for a pretty decent price, and I would love to see a rebirth of the series. We're in an era where we have renewed interest in games like Shadows of Tsushima and things like that. I would love to see them make a new Tenchu game on the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5. It would be absolutely fantastic. So definitely, first series on the list is Tenchu. Okay, moving on with the next series on the list that started out on the PlayStation 2, and this one, another game by Hideo Kojima, didn't really get a lot of fanfare in its time because it dropped on the heels of the much anticipated Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. That is Zone of the Enders. Zone of the Enders had two games in the series. It's got a remaster as well on the PlayStation 3. They got another remaster of Zone of the Enders Second Runner on PlayStation 4 that added a VR mode. This is a fantastic series in where you pilot the orbital frame Jehuti. The first game takes place during a invasion of the colony you live on, and you play as a young kid named Leo Stenbuck who kind of happens upon Jehuti, falls in the cockpit, and then is forced to just become this badass on the way to delivering Jehuti to a convoy on its way to Mars. The second runner follows up some years after that. The second runner is Dingo Egret, who was a former member of Baram, which was the military faction that invaded the colony in the first game. He stumbles on Jehuti, and his past comes back to haunt him. Jehuti's mission is realized, and it all wraps up actually rather nicely, but I would love to see another chapter in that story. It's a fast-paced, kind of off the rails action game where you play as, like I say, you play as the robot. I was into mech games like the Armored Core series a lot at the time, and so this kind of gave me a different take as far as like how fast the robots moved and the dodging mechanics and the lock-on and all the cool sub-weapons you had. Fantastic graphics, music, and a great story, of course, by Hideo Kojima wrapped this series up. Again, I thought that the remaster on the PlayStation 3 as well as the remaster on the PlayStation 4, I thought they sold really well, and it seemed like interest was building in the series again, but of course we all know about Kojima split with Konami, and so seeing more games in that series or even Metal Gear Solid for that matter seemed kind of on the fence. But if they can work it out, I would love to see another Zone of the Enders, even a spiritual sequel if, you know, Kojima doesn't own the name, has to change the name of it like they did with Castlevania and Ritual of the Night. I would love to see it. Okay, the next series, again, debuted on the PlayStation 2. Now, I've talked about Ninja, so it's time to go into Samurai, and one of my favorite Samurai series of all time is Onimusha. Onimusha started out on the PlayStation 2. Capcom was actually making a Resident Evil 4, and the original idea for Resident Evil 4 was for it to take place in the past in feudal Japan. That's why the original Onimusha plays so much like the Resident Evil games, with the static screens and the fixed angles and using herbs to heal yourself and the type of puzzles that you see in Onimusha. It was supposed to be Resident Evil 4. Eventually they strayed away from that, which is fine. We got a fantastic series out of it where you play as Samanosuke Akechi, and your job is to take down the evil warlord Nobunaga Oda. Fantastic series throughout. The combat was amazing. Part 2 added a lot of cool characters in Samurai's Destiny, like Kotaro the Ninja, and not only that, but we got Jin, I think is his name, in Samurai's Destiny, which was the next game that came out. We got an awesome spin-off fighting game before they wrapped it up with Samurai's Destiny, which is the 4th game in the series, and one that I think a lot of people don't know it exists or don't know that it's part of the story, but it's a continuation of the original trilogy. It takes place, I think, 15 years after, where you play as Soki and you go through his whole ordeal. That game also was fantastic. It added a lot of new elements to the combat and things like that that we didn't really see in the other games, but top-notch quality games throughout, fantastic production values. A lot went into the music and the graphics and everything like that, and after that, it just disappeared. We thought for sure that I remember at the time, we thought for sure that another Onimusha game was coming out on the PlayStation 3, and then the PlayStation 3 came and went, and nothing was said about it. So, you know, in the early years of the PS4, certainly something will come out on the PS4, and it just didn't. So Capcom, you need to get on that. I mean, you guys have been doing really well with keeping Resident Evil alive and reinventing and experimenting with Resident Evil. It's time for you guys to dust off some of your old series, and the first one on your list should be Onimusha. Okay, next series on the list is Ninja Gaiden, and it started out on restarted on the original Xbox with Ninja Gaiden, and then the definitive version of that in Ninja Gaiden Black. It moved over with a sequel to the Xbox 360. On the PlayStation 3, we got Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which was the PlayStation 3 remaster of Ninja Gaiden Black. And it had a fantastic trilogy during the 7th generation of video game consoles, but after Razor's Edge, we just got nothing else in the series, and I know a lot of that was a lot of issues with Itagaki, its developer, and a lot of things with him and leaving Team Ninja, and everything that went on with that drama. But man, this was hack and slash at its finest. You reprise the role of Ryo Hayabusa. It's kind of a soft reboot of sorts, and yeah, just the everything from the action to the graphics in this game to the difficulty, it was just hard enough to be punishing without being frustrating. I feel like games like Dark Souls, to me, kind of goes into that frustrating type of realm, but for the most part, if you really got it down, the combat in it was fantastic. The parries, the dodges, the flips, and running up walls, and things like that. The action in this game was superb. Again, 3 games we got during the 7th generation, but after that, nothing else. And again, with hack and slash games coming back on the rise again, I think it's time for the king of those to come back and show everybody what we've been missing. Okay, and moving on to the final series on the list here. This series started in the PlayStation 1 era. Got 3 games in the series, if I'm not mistaken, and that is Parasite Eve. Now, the original Parasite Eve came out around 98, 99. It was a action RPG / survival horror game by Squaresoft. Kind of used this unique grid-based combat system, very similar to another game that came out at the time, Vagrant Story. They went on from that to the second game in the series, where it kind of took its key more from Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, but that honestly wasn't a bad thing. The game played fantastic. Each had great graphics. You play the role as Aya Bree. She's a New York detective who gets caught up in this whole like midichlorian like conspiracy, and she's granted with superpowers, is able to develop and learn new powers and things like that. Very fantastic game, in addition to using her firearms. Then we got, years later, we got the third birthday on the PlayStation Portable, and that was again another departure from the series, as it's essentially a third-person cover-based shooter, but again, there's a lot of unique kind of gameplay elements with the ability to kind of zip around the battlefield and take control of different soldiers and other NPCs in the game to strategically place yourself around the map during the battle and things like that. Fantastic graphics on all 3 games. This was a series that was really taken off in the PlayStation 1 era and then got a nice revival with the PlayStation Portable, but again, I feel like it was enough of a departure that it turned a lot of people off. It's still a fantastic game and one of my favorites on the PSP, but sadly we just got nothing else after that, and that is a shame. I would definitely love to see Square Enix revive that franchise. It's been too long. Alright guys, so those are my picks, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. What are some video game series that you would like to see raised from the dead now that we are at the dawn of a new console generation? If you like this content, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, you'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out, and peace.